Remember how in National Treasure, Nick Cage needed to see the clock on the back of a bill, so he used a water ball as a magnifying glass? Wasn't that f***ing sick? Released in 2004 by director John Turteltaub and Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer, National Treasure is up there with some of the all-time greats. But apparently nowadays that's a controversial opinion. The two things most people probably remember about National Treasure is one, Nick Cage is in it, and two, he says that one line.
What?
We're gonna have a three-way with the Declaration of Independence.
Which I guess somehow means it's bad, but I don't know what the they're talking about. On opening weekend, National Treasure managed to beat out the SpongeBob movie. It was such a cultural hit, it managed to increase attendance at a museum. Shit, even Obama's seen it.
All the Super Bowl winners for the next 50 years are written on the back of the Constitution. That's the plot of National Treasure 3.
I think a true patriot loves National Treasure and Nick Cage. And to prove it, I went to the streets to see what real America thinks. This is
whatever you were cool.
We're okay.
This
This is. Have you guys seen the movie National Treasure with Nicolas Cage?
No.
All right. Have a good day, I guess.
All right.
Yo,
I see him.
are you a fan of National Treasure?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It's good.
You guys seen National Treasure? I gotta be less weird about it. It's like I'm trying to get them to buy drugs right now. You guys want to have a good time? Are you guys fans of National Treasure starring Nicolas Cage?
Oh no,
I've seen it.
None of these motherfuckers have seen National Treasure. You are the National Treasure?
Bro, I
Tell
am
us-
a rock because rocks rock. But guess what? You could be my La Jolla if you ain't acting.
Are you a rapper?
Hey, National Treasury, and me and you could have a bada bing, bada tree way. You know what I mean? Trey ball.
Are you a rapper?
You gotta close your eyes and open those threes to be divine like me. The sovereign being that I am, because I'm always being like a bee.
All right, one last question.
No, bro, no more money now. How much money you gotta pay me? Because this ain't free.
You bring any money? You guys know this guy?
Looks familiar.
Where do you think you know him from? Films and the like?
Lots of film.
Maybe in your dreams, perhaps?
Not in my dreams.
Are you sure? Listen, my mother is a very big fan of this guy.
Are you
Sexually.
implying that I'm as old as your mother?
Yeah, I think this is definitely turning into a nobody actually likes National Treasure video. Hey, you guys know Nicolas Cage?
I do.
Okay.
I just saw him actually.
Like in person?
Yeah.
Where?
He was in Majorca. He apparently the FBI or something.
Yeah, the FBI's after him.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. He was really pissed when I saw him. Look at that face.
Look at that face.
Wouldn't you be pissed if you had that face?
A lot of women find him very attractive, actually. Have you seen this movie, National Treasure?
Modern day Indiana Jones.
Have you guys seen this movie, National Treasure?
One of my favorites.
One of your favorites movies?
Yes, I
Right.
love National Treasure.
Have you seen National Treasure?
Of course.
Okay.
I really
Okay,
enjoyed the movie,
okay.
yeah. I had it on my PSP. When I was done playing MLB The Show, tossed in the National Treasure, I'd go to sleep to that. That was my melatonin gummy.
Nicolas Cage, 2024.
2024. Would you vote for him?
Yeah.
He is the national treasure himself.
You
But
should
I
go
love
watch
Nicolas
it.
Cage.
You love Nicolas Cage? Tell me more about your love.
photograph.
That's Nickelback, I believe. Word on the street, people's opinion on National Treasure? Mixed. Who knew? I don't have a transition, so here's an explosion. From the fantastical set pieces to the mystical artifacts, the just plain cool action, there's a lot of reasons this movie feels so packed full of magic, but it's all perfectly set up by the very first scene. It all starts off with the suspenseful moment of a young Ben Gates getting caught snooping around his grandfather's attic.
Supposed to be up here.
After which he sat down and told the mythical tale of the Templar treasure we would seek for the rest of the film.
It was 1832 on a night much like this.
The moody, hyper-realistic cinematography in the scene perfectly captures that universal feeling of a nostalgia-soaked memory. Like that time you got your first PlayStation, or when that one kid showed you what porn was. These memories stick with you, and it's clear that's what happens with young Ben Gates.
Benjamin Franklin Gates, you take upon yourself the duty of the Templars and the family Gates. Do you so swear?
I so swear.
Treasure hunting can so easily be a pursuit of greed and vanity, but with Gates, it's all about fulfilling the family legacy and making his grandpa proud. This makes him relatable, and his pursuit for the treasure really pure and admirable. Even later on when he's older, it's consistently demonstrated just how much this treasure matters to him.
Treasure is a myth.
I refuse to believe that.
And as a result, it matters to us. But not only does this first scene seamlessly introduce almost all the exposition and character motivation the movie needs, it also contains one of the most powerful world-building devices I've seen in a movie, maybe ever.
The Freemasons left us clues like these. The unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye.
Every single person in that 2004 theater has personally held the US dollar bill. And I think I speak for all of us when I say, why the is that on there? It's something that forces us to come to terms with the notion that even the familiar things we thought we completely understood might not be so ordinary. This suspension of disbelief naturally extends to every other element of the story. So when you're informed that there's an invisible map on the back of the Declaration of Independence that you reveal by squirting on lemon juice, you just sort of go with it. Now all of that happens in just the first sequence. And here we are less than 10 minutes into the movie, already excited for Gates to find the treasure, and even more excited for the journey that's going to take. And where does the film take us with all this excitement? The Arctic Circle, to discover the cryogenic remains of a capsized Revolutionary War frigate. But as cool as that is, the real discovery is below deck. A dark, frozen, lifeless crypt that's as eerie as it is captivating. Everything here looks so authentic. Icy stalactites hang from the ceiling, the doors are cemented in frost. Hell, you can even see their breath in the air. I feel cold just looking at it. Probably because they actually filmed this whole thing in a massive industrial fish freezer. This set is a testament to the thought and care put into crafting this world. Something that can also be seen elsewhere in the movie. The clues. When Gates discovers a conspicuously guarded barrel, he digs inside to find this ancient-looking pipe that, when smeared with blood, prints a riddle to the next clue. That's a pretty cool clue, and the rest of the pieces are equally intriguing. Multi-chrome spectacles that reveal the invisible, the back of the $100 bill, the Declaration of Independence, all of which require combining or deciphering to reveal their information. My favorite example of this is with that very pipe we find at the beginning of the movie. Initially, it seems like its only purpose is the scroll on the stem that prints out the first clue. But in a cool display of symmetry, the other half of the pipe ends up being the key to unlock the final door. The clue that started the adventure also ends it. It would have been so easy to make it all some linear string of words and codes on old-looking paper. But in this movie, imagination is the priority. Now, aside from all that, the ship sequence also features something else unique that makes National Treasure so great. Its relatively serious tone. As Riley wanders around the frozen cabin, he approaches a hammock and makes an unsettling discovery. That's a real-ass looking mummified corpse. And even though Riley's reaction to it may have been a bit extreme, I'm sure many of the kids and even adults in the theater felt similarly. Now, Gates' reaction to all this is played up for laughs.
You handled that well.
But the line hints at something much darker. This may be a treasure hunt, but it's no fairy tale.
Ben Gates isn't like Indiana Jones because I'm not chasing ghosts.
In the real world, exploring old abandoned ruins is dangerous, and death is just a part of the job. This sense of reality permeates throughout the movie. Gates' life is either being threatened or actively attempted, the FBI is after him for federal offenses, his dad and friends are taken hostage by a believably ruthless individual, and at the end of the movie, someone even brutally dies on screen. I mean, it's not Game of Thrones, but for a PG Disney movie, it's kinda wild. All of this combines to give the movie a real weight. Actions have consequences, so we just hope our protagonists make the right ones. Man, I love this movie. There's even more stuff I could talk about, like the genuinely fun dialogue, or the excellent framing of Gates and Ian's contrasting characters we see throughout the movie. But let's talk about some dumb shit. Now, admittedly, there isn't a lot for me to complain about. This movie is a nostalgic childhood favorite, and I'm extraordinarily biased. But there is one thing I remember bothering me, even when I was 12. Gates doesn't really need to steal the Declaration. When Gates figures out the next clues on the Declaration, him and Ian immediately get into it over whether they should steal it.
It was put on the back of a resolution that he transcribed, a resolution that 55 men signed, the Declaration of Independence.
We could borrow it.
I don't think so.
The whole exchange feels super contrived, and in the span of less than 2 minutes, they go from being the chummy old pals we saw in the snow to Gates literally having a gun pointed at his head.
I'm not gonna let you steal the Declaration of Independence.
Now, all of this could be explained by a simple notion. Gates simply has far too much reverence for the founding of America and the document that pioneered it to put it into any sort of danger. It could be explained if it wasn't for the rest of the movie.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
What?
So okay, he is gonna steal it later, but I'm sure he has some extremely compelling reasons.
Ian's gonna try to steal it. And if he succeeds, he'll destroy the Declaration. The fact is, the only way to protect the Declaration is to steal it.
So he needs to steal it, because if Ian steals it, he's gonna destroy it?
He'll destroy the Declaration.
Assuming that were even true, if the goal is to protect the Declaration, wouldn't it have been easier to just stay with Ian and make sure it all gets done right? I mean, they partnered up well enough to find themselves in the Arctic Circle, but that's assuming he would just destroy it, which doesn't really make sense for someone looking for a treasure to do. You know? Destroy the treasure map? I mean, even when Ian actually has the Declaration later in the movie, he gives it back in perfect condition, because why wouldn't he? None of this makes any goddamn sense. Until that is, I noticed that line about Ian destroying the Declaration.
He'll destroy the Declaration.
Wasn't even originally in the movie. ADR, or automated dialogue replacement, is a movie technique where after shooting a scene, you bring an actor back to an audio booth to have them re-record lines.
Bow, 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 bow.
This can either be to just improve audio, or sometimes to sneakily insert brand new lines. When done wrong, it's painfully obvious, like almost any Jackie Chan movie from the 90s.
Wow, looks like a really tough area.
Something's always happening here. That's New York for you.
But when done right, you usually can't tell. But I can always tell. Listen closely. The sound of his voice changes ever so slightly when he says those words.
Ian's gonna try to steal it. And if he succeeds, he'll destroy the Declaration. The fact is, the only way to protect the Declaration is to steal it.
Which is easily verified by these incongruent spectral fingerprints of this line and one earlier.
Destroy the Declaration. The Declaration.
And the fact they have to cut away from Gates with this weird shot of Riley just blankly staring off into the distance is a dead giveaway. They couldn't show you Gates saying the line, cause he never did. And with that realization, it all suddenly made sense. They shot the whole movie, watched it, their pants realizing none of this made any sense, shoved that line in, and wiped their ass for a job well done. Well, it's either that or this whole movie is secretly some unreliable narrator, Memento-type psychological thriller where the main guy convinces both himself and the audience that his evil, self-serving actions are actually justified. Because there's only one guy in this movie proven to explode or otherwise recklessly endanger precious historical artifacts. And it's not Ian. But aside from all that, I love this movie, and it's perfect. Well, I mean, sure, glorifying the pillaging of oppressed people's cultural items and calling it a national treasure is problematic. And sure, when he's not being funny, Riley's an annoying little weasel boy.
When are we gonna get there? This car smells weird.
And sure, this kiss at the end of the movie kind of makes me want to throw up. But at the end of the day, National Treasure succeeds at something very few movies do. It leaves us with the, however small, belief there might just be something more to the seemingly ordinary world. Wish the second one didn't ruin the whole franchise.
They gon' feel us, they gon' see us, they gon' realize that we the realest, you might Theo.
I don't know what the she was talking about.